I'm surprised to admit it, but I can accept that.
Well, I guess I know what video I'll be doing today. Alright, let's just get right to the point with today's theory/analysis. No super cringy intro or witty pun to start the video off. Basically, last week I did a video going further into the relationship between Zelda and Link in Breath of the Wild. And there was a part where I mentioned the fact that Zelda smiles at the very end of the secret ending. That's when I got comments from an awful lot of people talking about how, let's be frank, ugly her smile is. Granted, this isn't the first time I have heard this, but because it was one of the main topics of last week's theory, there were a lot of people who expressed their thoughts. I also had some people mention how Nintendo had really messed up this moment given the unappealing expression shown on Zelda's face. Now, do I think the smile is pretty awful? To be honest, yeah, I do. But I decided to look more into why Nintendo would include this specific expression, and how it fits into her character. Because with a game this massive and with so much detail, everything is purposely done for a reason. There's two specific why questions we must answer to truly understand the inclusion of it in the game. First of all, why end off with a smile, and second, why this smile? If you've watched my recent theory video, then you know that we've already briefly touched on this topic, so I'll give you the Cliff Notes version of this answer. Having the smile at the end might first just seem like it's thrown in because the bad guy was defeated and now it's a happy ending for everyone. But there is a more significant purpose to it, and unfortunately it is something that would not be known to the player unless they played the game in the Japanese version. For those who don't know, in the other versions of the game, the Sheikah logs for quests are written in second-person point of view. This implies that it is the Sheikah slate itself updating these logs. But in the Japanese version, all of this is written in a first-person point of view. Long story short, it's heavily implied that Link himself wrote down these entries. The reason this felt so important to the game was because it gave Link a bit of personality, as without it, he feels like a blank slate. There are a lot of quests that only slightly change the wording, but on some occasions there are parts which were completely cut from the other versions. And one of the best examples of this is the quest log that is shown once you find all 13 memories. Both mention three different things: that you've recovered all the memories, how Zelda was burdened by her tasks, and that you, the player, want to save her as quickly as possible. But there is one more small section that was taken out of the English version entirely. I want to see her smile again, with these eyes of my own. So why is this specific line important? Well, remember that the special ending of the game is only seen once you recover all the memories. And one of Link's motivations for getting the memories is to see Zelda smile once again. It also just so happens that in the cutscene that requires all memories to be obtained, Zelda ends it all off with a smile. It's a very subtle detail, but it also makes this final scene so important, because that final expression wasn't just thrown in for no reason. It specifically existed to tie in with what was written in Link's journal. His wish was fulfilled in the end. He got to see her smile. So now the question is, why that smile? It's not like they couldn't have gone with another one. We see her smile on other occasions, such as with the Deku Tree and right after beating Ganon. Well, it simply comes down to the fact that it shows her growth as a character. Zelda's commitment to her training resulted in a heavy burden being put on her. As the princess with the blood of the goddess, it was her job to eventually seal Ganon once he returned. Because of this, she was never able to grow up with a normal life. This resulted in her taking an interest to the Sheikah technology as a way to lift the burden from her shoulders. Because while she had a commitment as the princess, her passion was towards the research she did in her spare time. But this would create conflict with her father, as the day that Ganon would return was approaching and she had yet to unlock the power within.
The power within!
She's always grown up with expectations that had to be met, and the passing away of her mother would only add to that burden. She was never able to live a normal life, as she spent years and years doing what her father wanted her to do. This exact problem is brought up in one of the memories, as she questioned whether Link would have wanted to follow the same path if he was forced into being a knight. So how does this all play into a single smile that is shown at the end of the game? First of all, it goes without saying that this is a representation of her finally opening up to Link. Something that she had desired to do during the time spent with him before the calamity. This can be found within her journal entries. But delving deeper into the question, it's because of how much this smile contrasts the other ones we have seen. Chances are that once in your life, you have done something called a fake smile. This is when you act happy through your facial expressions when you're really not. This could be the result of many things. The way Zelda smiles in the memories can be somewhat related to this. While I certainly wouldn't call her smiles fake, the way they are portrayed in the game is purposely done to convey her struggles and fear of being herself. She loves researching the Sheikah technology, but has never been able to do so without receiving backlash. She does smile when around close friends such as Urbosa and Link, but it's clear she is afraid to open up too much given the expectations all of Hyrule has set onto her. Urbosa even goes as far as to say,
"Oh my, I can't say the same. 10 years ago, you rarely smiled, my little bird."
And within Rome's diary, it is revealed that during the Queen's funeral, Zelda had never cried nor faltered. He notes that it is most likely due to her duty to be a valiant and steady princess, and that for a child of 6 years, her conduct was truly that of a born leader. It's clear that there are two different Zeldas in the story. The one that acts the way she is expected to, that of a leader with a duty to her people, and the other one which is her true self. However, she is too afraid to express herself given the responsibility that was put onto her. From what we can see in places such as Urbosa's cutscene and Rome's diary, Zelda grew up with the sole intention of fulfilling her duty as the princess. It was around the time that the champions and Link came into the picture that she became conflicted between her obligations and what she really wanted to do. But in the end, she is finally able to express herself openly. Hence, why she smiles. What's important to realize is that a smile doesn't exist to look pretty. Its sole purpose is to simply express emotion. And Zelda's final smile is done to show that other side of her. It's the first time that we see this side of her being fully expressed. This is why it contrasts her previous ones, as their subtlety showed that she still felt a burden. Just look at the expression at the end. This isn't a simple, reserved smile one would expect from a princess. It's a silly grin, one that a child would make. One that, as a 6-year-old, she was never able to do because of the path that was already set for her. It was because she never had the freedom of living a normal life. But once the burden was lifted, the princess for the first time was allowed to be the person she wanted to be. Yes, her smile is ugly, but the point wasn't the expression itself, but what it represented. I hope you enjoyed today's theory video. This one was purposely kept short because it was more of an analysis video, and there's only so much you can explain about a smile until it gets to the point of useless filler. If you have any other theories that you want me to talk about, then let me know in the comments below. I've been thinking of talking about either the ancient hero, or something about how deadly Death Mountain really is. Let me know what you think. Thanks to my current patrons, as your donations will help to make more videos such as this. If you want to support the channel, then check the description for a link where you can donate $1 a month, though never feel obligated to do so. Discord and Twitter links can be found below, and I will see you guys next time.